Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Art of Creation Homestead. Happy Sunday to you, right? It's a beautifully crisp, cool day here in Southwest Ohio, and we're here to talk about Jesus today, because there's no other greater thing to do. We love talking chickens and gardening and cooking and canning, but I love talking about Jesus. He's amazing, and that's why we do this video every Sunday. A little Bible study, we'll talk about Jesus, and get some basic application of the Bible to our lives, okay? And I've got an interesting one today that's really speaking to me hard. So let's talk about the book of John. If you've been tuning in every day, you know the book of John is what we've been doing in John chapter 12. Last week, we hit on the spot where Jesus had said that whoever loses his life will gain it. You know, basically talking about full surrender, right? Surrender in your life to take it to follow Jesus, okay? So today we're going to pick up John chapter 12, verse 27. We're going to skip over a few things and finish out the chapter 12. But so stick with me, and you'll find something pretty cool. And John chapter 12, verse 27 says, "Now my heart is troubled, and what shall I say? My Father saved me from this hour. No, it was for this very reason I came to this hour." So that's where we finished last week. Just want to kind of overlap. "Father, glorify your name." Then a voice came from heaven. "I have glorified it and will glorify it again." The crowd that was there and heard it said it had thundered. Others said an angel had spoken to him. Jesus said, "This voice was for your benefit, not mine. Now is the time for judgment on this world. Now the prince of this world will be driven out. But I, when I am lifted up from the earth, will draw all men to myself." He said this to show the kind of death he was going to die. Okay, so here he is setting it up. He talked to God. God talked back, said, "God's, I have glorified it. And I'm going to glorify it again." So, conversation with God in front of everybody, so that they could see something's going on, right? And so the crowd spoke up. We have heard from the law that the Christ will remain forever. So how can you say the Son of Man must be lifted up? Who is this Son of Man? Then Jesus told them, "You're going to have the light just a little while longer. Walk while you have the light, before darkness overtakes you. The man who walks in the dark does not know where he is going. Put your trust in the light while you have it, so that you may become sons of light." When he had finished speaking, Jesus left and hid himself from them. So again, there's another spot. Jesus talking about light and dark, which is, again, throughout the entire book of John, major theme. Probably maybe the biggest theme as far as all that goes. But Jesus constantly spoke about light and dark, and that's what John really wanted to write about. Was part of it was that it's light and dark. There's a big difference there, right? So in verse 37 it says, "Even after Jesus had done all these miraculous signs in their presence, they still would not believe." Okay, that's an interesting spot there. So remember that they would not believe. Verse 38 says, "This was to fulfill the word of Isaiah, the prophet. Lord, who has believed our message, and to whom has the arm of the Lord been revealed?" For this, in verse 39, "For this reason they could not believe, because Isaiah says elsewhere, He has blinded their eyes and deadened their hearts, so they can neither see with their eyes nor understand with their hearts, nor turn, and I would heal them." Now look, that only happened because of their refusal, okay? They couldn't believe because their hearts have been hardened to what he was doing. They just simply just refused. All right, so, okay, you hardened their hearts. That was prophecy. That's what Isaiah was talking about. In verse 41, it says, "Isaiah said this because he saw Jesus' glory and spoke about him. Yet at the same time, many even among the leaders believed in him. But because of the Pharisees, they would not confess their faith, for fear they would be put out of the synagogue, for they love praise from men more than praise from God." Again, they would not, because they feared. They loved themselves more, essentially, because they wanted praise from men. So there it is. Again, they would not confess their faith. And that's really what I want to talk about today, is just this idea of coulda, shoulda, woulda, right? There's times that you have the ability to do things. There's times you have a choice to make. And then there's opportunities in your life every single day that you could have made the right choice. And you wish you would have. And you know you should have. Right? And that's what we have every single day. It's an opportunity to make the right choices. Right? Coulda, shoulda, woulda. Later, you wish you did. Right? And you have the ability to. Sometimes you feel like you don't have the ability to do something. But a lot of times you do have the ability to do something. A lot of times you do have the ability to make that right decision, to surrender that spot of your life. And what would have happened if you did? You wished you would have, right? These people in Jesus that John was talking about with Jesus said that they would not. So that when you say would not, doesn't mean you couldn't. It means you refused to. They would not confess their faith. They would not believe in him. They refused to simply surrender that part of their life because they had this preconceived idea of what was supposed to happen, and it wasn't happening the way they thought it should happen, and so they just would not believe. They refused to believe that things weren't going like they thought they would go. They refused to believe that Jesus, the Christ, the Messiah, wasn't going to come and make them reign forever and they would have everything they ever wanted right there on earth. They refused to accept God's will. They refused to take up God's promises in that manner. All right, they just refused to accept that God's idea was different than theirs and was better, by the way. How often do we have those opportunities in our life? Every day. Every single day. We have an opportunity to surrender a portion of our life, to surrender our life, to surrender a situation, to surrender an idea, and yet we choose not to sometimes, a lot of times. They would not confess their faith. They would not believe in him. I would not do this. I would not do that. I could have. And later I know I should have and wish I did. How often do we have those opportunities? Every day. Every day we have them. So what I very simply want to challenge you to do this week is take those would nots and do dids. Take those would nots. I would not take time out of my day to read my Bible. I would not surrender 30 minutes of watching TV to do this. I would not speak up when I had the chance. I would not let a situation go that I know I should have, and therefore I escalated it with my own bad attitude. That's a good one. I would not do whatever. Insert that for yourself. I would not do this. Situations that you messed up on. Those situations. God told you what they were. Inside what you should have done, and yet you said I would not, whatever. So challenge you this week. Take those would nots to I did. Allow God to work in your life. Allow the Holy Spirit to guide you. And just don't be caught doing I would not. Right? They would not confess their faith. They would not believe in him. So they would not trust him, right? That's what that means. I'm challenging myself to do the same thing, by the way. So this week, do it. All right? Don't be caught doing I would not. Thank you guys so much for watching. We do appreciate it. My name is Jason. This is Art Creation Homestead. Hey, comment below if you have anything to say. We'd love to hear from you, all right? God bless you. Goodbye.